Hi everybody, this is Boog Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Marvel Legends Marvel Studios The First 10 Years Thor and Sif pack. So, since I've been showing the box art for this series, before we take a look at the figures and their accessories, we will take a look at their packaging. I usually don't do this, but this has special packaging. So right there, you get the packaging. There's not much on the front. On the side, let me scoop my diorama back some. On the side, you do get images from Thor: The Dark World and Guardians of the Galaxy. And on the back there, you get brief bios of Thor and Sif. So if you want to read that, just pause it. And on the side, you get Sif's bio. You don't get Thor and Sif, you just get Sif's bio. So for these, this and Ronan's packaging combine, because this is pack number 5 and Ronan is 6. So that looks really awesome. I'm a fan of how Hasbro is doing that. I love the idea of packages connecting to make one big picture. So yeah, the packaging is also awesome. So now, before we take a look at the start of this set, Thor, we will take a look at Sif. Now, this is a brand new figure, brand new mold. The only thing I can see that might be reused is the hips here. And I think these hips are Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But that's all I can see, because even all of her accessories are new, which I will go ahead and show right here. So first up, she comes with these 2 swords right here, which have excellent sculpting detail to them right there. And they have nice marbleization to them. And it combines to make her double-bladed sword. Now, she can't hold it the best, and it constantly does that if you have this double-bladed one put together. So let's try putting it in this way. But so far, it doesn't really, as you can see, it kind of just goes in her hand like that. And this one does tend to fall apart. It isn't really a big deal to me, because I think she only used this in the first movie. It's been a while since I've watched the first 2 Thor movies, but I'm pretty sure she only used this double-bladed sword in the first one. I don't think she used it in the second one, because I don't think she was in that much of the second one. I don't know, like I said, I need to rewatch the Thor movies. I need to rewatch a lot of the Phase 1 movies, like Thor and Hulk and Iron Man and such. But there you go, there's that. And I'll set that to a side since that constantly wants to fall off. And here's her other sword, which, not really sure how to put it in her hand, because if you do that, then it wants to fall out. If you do that, then it still wants to fall out because it's too big. And if you do that, it just falls out. So, any way you do it, I think it's going to want to fall out. I think you just kind of have to have some patience and toy with it and see, like, what the best way to get her holding it would be. And finally, she has her shield, which it has some excellent sculpting detail to it too. I think it should have had like maybe a black wash over it or something like that, because it looks a little too plain. But overall it looks nice. Now, the only way I have been able to get this on Sif's arm is by popping the hand off right there and just doing that. Which, her hands pop off really easily, so it doesn't hurt them or anything. So there's her with her shield. And that is a very, very tiny shield. I don't know how that could protect her from anything. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt for Sif. So that head sculpt is amazing. It looks like Jamie Alexander. The eyebrows came out nice. The eyes look very nice. So do the lips too. This head sculpt is just really great. That face printing tech really works wonders. I don't think the figure would have looked as nice if it didn't have this face printing tech on it. And the hair also looks nice. They got her long curly hair. And it's very soft, so it doesn't really hinder her articulation that much. It does just a little bit, but not much. Yeah, it's sculpted really nicely. And her outfit is also sculpted nicely with that chainmail right there. And her shoulder pads have some nice sculpting to them. And this has that shimmer to it. I think that's maybe what Hasbro should have done with her shield, not just cast in this color. Maybe should have added some marbleization to it, or made it that shimmery kind of plastic like this. Because if you look at that in the light, it almost does look like real metal, because it has that kind of shimmer to it. So that looks really nice. And so does, would this be considered loincloth? Whatever this is considered. Looks really nice. It has a slight texturing to it. I think the camera can pick it up. But it has just a little bit of texturing to it. And her shin armor also looks nice. It has that shimmer to it as well. Like I said, I still think this shield should have had that shimmer, or maybe some marbleization to it like her shoulder pads did. I want to say that maybe the feet are reused. I feel like these are from, are these from Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? I think they might be. I want to say that she had a hole in the heel right here, but they could have just filled that in. But other than that, it's all new pieces. Like, if you look at it from back here, you wouldn't know that any of it was reused. Like I said, I think the feet might just be a slight retooling of Volume 2's Gamora figure. And I think the hips by that ball joint right there are the same as well. But overall, it's a really awesome figure. This is the first Sif MCU figure we have. And I'm hoping maybe we'll get some more Asgardian characters like Odin or the Warriors 3. I'm not too big on the Warriors 3, but definitely an Odin figure would be nice. So now I'm going to go over Sif's articulation. She has a ball-jointed head that can look back, and you'll kind of have to work with it because the hair does hinder it a bit, but you actually can get her to look back if you kind of just take your time with it. So she can look back just about all the way, and she can look down all the way. That's a good thing. She can move her head side to side. She has ball-jointed shoulders that can move out all the way. Her shoulder pads do not hinder that. It's because they're glued on down here and not up here on her actual shoulders. She has single jointed elbows that bend in all the way. Kind of acts as a double jointed elbow, so that's really nice. She has swivel at the wrist that can move side to side and up and down. She has ball jointed diaphragm that can move back all the way and down just a little bit. Well, now that I look at it, that's just about all the way. It can move side to side. She has ball-jointed hips that can move out that far. It can move out a little further, but I don't want to move these out because they're the kind of material that would stay moved. Like, if you move them out like that and leave it, then this is going to stay that shape, you know, so I don't want to ruin that. She can kick forward all the way, back just a little bit. She has swivel at the thigh, double-jointed knee, swivel at the ankle that can move up and down, and an ankle rocker. So the articulation is really good on Sif. I especially love those elbows, because we don't get any female figures with double-jointed elbows except for Proxima Midnight. And I'm hoping that they'll add more of the double-jointed elbows to the female figures. But as long as we get single-jointed elbows that can move in like that, I'm fine with that. So now, let's take a look at Thor. Now, the only accessory he comes with is, of course, Mjolnir. And I can't say that I'm a fan of this particular Mjolnir, because it has that shimmer and marbleization to it. And I just don't think the marbleization looks that great. When compared to the previous Age of Ultron Thor, I think this hammer looks a lot better. The handles are basically the same. This one is just more brown, and this right here is silver. And mine's strap did break because I did try to get him holding it like he does in the movie with the strap over his wrist, and it did snap. So I'm not going to do that with this one. I've learned from my past mistakes. So there's Mjolnir, and let's go ahead and slide that in right there. So now we can look at the head sculpt of this figure. So for the head sculpt, it's kind of 50-50. Like, if you look at it from this way, it looks like Chris Hemsworth. But if you're looking at it kind of straight like that, it kind of looks like Chris Hemsworth mixed with Triple H. I mean, the face printing tech is good. The face didn't change from the previous version. As you can see, this is just a repaint and retool of the Age of Ultron version. And the head sculpt is definitely improved. This one's hair looked kind of odd, and the face sculpt just wasn't there at all. With that face printing tech, it definitely did change it a bit. It does look better in my opinion. But still, I don't know. Certain ways you look at it, like I said, it's kind of 50-50. 50% looks like him, 50% it doesn't. So it's kind of half and half. But with that face printing tech, it does look a lot better. And his hair is sculpted nicely. Has a nice brown wash over it. And his cape is really awesome. And this time around, it's this very soft, pliable, rubbery kind of plastic. Almost kind of like vinyl. Whereas this one was just really hard plastic that you couldn't move at all. Like, it has no give to it at all. Like, trying to bend it feels like I want to break it. But with this one, you can just do that. And I do like that because this one's legs you can spread out like that. And this one you just couldn't. Because if you put it on this fold right here, stands out. And it makes his foot kind of, or his leg kind of stand out a little bit. And I always hated that. Because the only way it looks fine is if you put it down in between the wrinkles, like that. So I never did like that. So I'm glad that Hasbro did change that with this version. And the gold came out really nicely. Has that shimmer to it. And this version of Thor has the chainmail sleeves, which are sculpted nicely. Have a little bit of shimmer and marbleization to it. Looks good. And there are the wrist guards. I can't tell, are these the same? Yeah, they're the same, just painted differently. Really, the only difference is paint and the sleeves, of course, and the cape. The cape is darker than this one. This one's kind of like a, I don't know what you call it. It's just a really light red. And this one, the Dark World version's cape is this dark red. Overall, I do like this version better. Another thing that I did not like about this Thor was his arms couldn't move at all, up and down. They could swivel, but the ball joints didn't work correctly. And that's another thing that improves with this one. You can move it out just fine. You do get that kind of a crunchy noise, the clicking noise, but overall it's fine. So there's more of his armor. This right here is blue. And I want to say that's accurate. Like I said, it's been a little while. I think it's been at least a year since I watched it. And unlike a lot of people, I really loved the first two Thor movies. And Ragnarok is definitely the best, but I still love The Dark World. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. And there you get his boots, which have good sculpting to him. Oh, I forgot. On his legs right there, he has more of that chainmail. And it is cast in that same color. Or painted in the same color, I should say. This silver right here. And his boots are sculpted nicely. And the armor, I guess you would call this kind of like a champagne color. And for the Dark World, it was this dark gold color. I definitely like the gold more. Honestly, I think I just like this figure a lot better. This Thor is really hard to get anyway. So I think that's another good reason that Hasbro re-released this with some added stuff, is because this one was so hard to get. Plus, I want to say that Thor actually wears this for a bit in Age of Ultron. Yeah, he does actually wear this in Age of Ultron. So, you could also use this in your Age of Ultron Avengers. So now let's go over his articulation. The head still isn't fixed because let me pop it off here. It's still just neck and then ball joint. There's no swivel on it or anything, so the range of motion isn't great. He can't look down or up. I suppose you do get a little bit of a nodding motion. But for the most part, it just swivels side to side because it's just neck and then that joint right there. It's kind of like the Ares joint. He has ball-jointed shoulders that can move out very far, unlike the Age of Ultron version. He has swiveled the bicep, double-jointed elbow, swiveled the wrist can move side to side, and up and down this way. He has ball-jointed diaphragm that can move back all the way, and can crunch forward all the way. Move side to side. He has ball-jointed hips that can move out that far. He can kick forward all the way. He can kick back just a little bit. He has swivel at the thigh, double jointed knee, swivel at the ankle, and an ankle rocker. So this Thor is definitely a lot better than the previous Thor that uses this body mold. This one has some tweaked articulation, and like the cape is new. Well, it's the same cape, it's just made of a different material. That way it can move more and you can get him into a lot better poses. So now let's do some size comparisons here. Let's get him into a cool pose. Yeah, that's a cool pose. Okay, so here he is next to the previous Thor figure. And like I said, you really couldn't get him into too many poses because this cape was just heavy, so it does kind of weigh him down. And then his leg sticks out because of that wrinkle right there. So that was just irritating. You can see these would be the same height if I had them in the same pose. So the height's the same. And then here he is next to the Infinity War Thor. And you can see how the armor has changed, or how his outfit has changed. But I like how the sleeves came back. The sleeves look really awesome. So, leave a comment down below and tell me which Thor outfit from the MCU is your favorite. Is it the first one from the first movie, from Thor the Dark World, from Age of Ultron, or from Infinity War? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And finally, here he is, next to the figure that he's packed in with, Sif. And that's... okay, I'll just link her against Thor. So there they are next to each other. And overall, I really, really love this set. I think this set was 40 bucks, I want to say, 40 or 50 bucks. And I think that's honestly a reasonable price because Thor was a hard figure to get anyway from that Age of Ultron. And this one is way better in terms of like the paint apps, the sculpting, and the articulation. So that, and you get a brand new figure that you can't get anywhere else, Sif. So I would highly recommend this box set. So if you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.